Prior diving into the AI part, I just like to make a quick recap. So here, this is an EQMS software that is based on Microsoft 365. We leverage all the tools that are used by most of you as you voted today, and we don't change user habits with all these Microsoft 365 Office tools. This is a quick install process for you IT, so the app is installed in your Microsoft tenant, in the client Microsoft tenant. So you belong the data, you belong all documents and files in the software. This is located in the client trusted cloud and secure cloud. So we leverage Microsoft security like multi-factor authentication. This is probably the most secure place for your EQMS files and data to be stored in your tenant. But not only we leverage SharePoint as repository for these files and data, we have also connections to different tools like Teams for instant productivity, chats. We have pre-configured Power Automate workflows that we will go through today, AI-driven workflows, or just automation to simplify, reduce manual work, improve efficiency of these audit-related processes or other modules. We use BI. We have also pre-configured BI reports for business intelligence and forms. This is good news. You can open the EQMS to internal, external stakeholders and make everyone an active participant in improving quality here with Microsoft Forms and no additional cost. So the homepage here is really the quick start page for end users where they can jump into these EQMS modules. They can also ask your private AI assistant, EQMS assistant here on the top of ChatGPT, OpenAI in your secure cloud for guidance, for example, on how to prepare audits. And this will check in your internal EQMS documentation to quickly answer any collaborator question here by checking or best answering these questions with your internal documentation. Like, for example, here on how to use BPA here, EQMS to best prepare an audit, and possibly in case needed, AI will do the job to summarize all this documentation related with the question. However, in case needed, collaborators can jump into the procedure. This is one of our internal procedure at BPA and read through for more insights about this. This saves a huge time when searching for data. It saves hours each week per collaborator when searching for data compared to traditional search engine or compared to just browsing the document library, for example. Let's jump into the audit module. And this is really the place here where you will store any type of audits. You see that these audits are grouped by year, by type, like these are ISO related system audits in 2025, or these are 2024 inspections or supplier audits. So you can store or track any type of audits here, customer, supplier audits, internal inspections, and so on. And you can provide guidance to auditors here to view audits by any kind of view, like pending or upcoming audits or completed audits, and also set your own buttons, for example, to view audits in a calendar view, or possibly here to jump to Audit BI to check, for example, in Power BI, because this is all completely integrated with BPA as we work with these Microsoft technologies, to view how many audits and coverage and compliance we have for the different clause, or here in the radar, possibly where we need to improve for a specific chapter here because average compliance is a bit lower. Or decision makers can use, for example, this cursor here or any slicer to drill down these audits to view, for example, audits that are less compliant than a certain percent here and check about these audits and possibly open these audits. So AI is, of course, very important for the reporting and helping decision makers to drill down interactive charts. So here you can also open the tool to external stakeholder, like for example, suppliers, to fill in a Microsoft form with no additional license and auto-evaluate themselves and get this data in your EQMS here. You can also search based on any of these metadata. For example, here searching for ISO-related audits here in the title, and possibly filter on any other columns when needed. When registering an audit, the audit form will help auditors to go through each step here of the audit to prepare the audit with required metadata, possibly have also some guidance to auditor how to do it, and have hyperlinks to related documentation like the audit procedure. And then once preparation is done, once questions have been selected for the audit, execution can start. Findings can be appended to the audit. If any finding, you most likely want to plan actions, corrective actions to improve, and finally check for effectiveness of these actions prior completion. So this is all driven with automated workflow behind the scene that will alert the right people, that will provision audit questions automatically and reduce manual work. So when preparing an audit, auditors can fill all these metadata. You would, of course, change these audit types with your own, select regulations that you want to audit, possibly nonconformities, because this is also linked with the nonconformity module. And we will be able to check later in this demonstration that we also use this internally at BPA. Departments, of course, time and start time and end time for these audits, audited processes, but also question provisioning whenever you want workflow to provision all questions regarding a specific chapter or specific clause like ISO or quality, health, safety, environmental regulations and requirements. Clients can import their own regulations here. And workflow will also here notify auditors, auditees about the different steps, and when, for example, they can plan these audits in their Outlook or in Teams. So when saving preparation form, this would trigger an automated workflow to start and alert the right persons. Now, if we want to take a deeper look into one of these audits here, this ISO 9001 Chapter 7, we will have we collect all important audit information in a page here, like all questions that have been provisioned by the workflow here, all findings that will be collected, if any, corrective actions, possibly preventive risks, but also recordings, photos that you can will check right after that we can collect with Power Apps, for example, and generated audit reports. These questions have been provisioned by the workflow. However, it's also possible for auditors to select among your own checklists here regarding any regulations that you need to comply with, like ISO 9001 here. And auditors could, for example, select questions from different clause or search for a clause or chapter that they want to audit and append these questions with the audit, and have a mixed approach, because you can also check for supplier audit questions and ISO and VDA if you are in the automotive and so on. And this will obviously add all these questions here together with the audit. And you could then merge a checklist, print out a formatted checklist, and start audit with paper and pen. That would be a first way to do it. You could also digitally answer these questions, setting compliance from 0 to 100%, so we can have a BI report on the top of that, put some notes, and do this for each question to answer these audit questions digitally. A third way would be to use our pre-configured Power App. This is an app that is dedicated to mobile users, auditors that would like to audit even offline, touching the screen to set compliance for different questions and close here, possibly take photos leveraging cameras on your mobile device, and taking notes, and all this collected material during the audits will be synced back here in the backend EQMS software, like photos, recordings, so that you can merge an audit report. This is quite nice, but each of these methods that I've just presented bring no guidance to auditor on what are the answers for these questions, and do we have evidence in our EQMS system, documented information, to best answer these questions? So here, this is where AI has a great role to play, because for one of these questions, for example, here, is there any evidence that automotive parts are compliant with VDA, whatever? We are not a parts producer here at BPA, so probably AI won't find any answer on this. If I ask here QPilot, again, this is your secure EQMS assistant working on the top of your documents, not going outside to the web. And when asking this question to QPilot here, probably I will get no answer. And when this is also indicative for auditors. When no answer to any of these questions, it means that documentation or documented information is missing, and that probably additional documents need to be created to describe this. In the case I select now the second question here, if we have evidence of top management commitment to the QMS system here, then this will again check for internal documents related to this. And here, AI should find out some of these documents that we have here, like our quality policy or information security policy in our QMS here, to confirm that we have evidence of these in our information system. This is interesting, and this will, of course, save a huge time for auditors when they prepare audits or when they execute and run these audits by asking AI to provide answers to these questions and avoid spending time on searching for these documents back and forth. What would be even better is to be able to ask AI to answer all of these questions one after the other, and being able to produce a formatted report with all answers and all related compliance documents with these questions. Well, this is what we have done with Power Automate. So Power Automate is one of these Microsoft technologies that we have, that we use here, and we have pre-configured Power Automate workflows to here, in this case, automate all the logic we need to do that. So here, we will check for each question, and we will also let users know in Teams that the process is ongoing. And in this apply to each loop here, each question will be asked to AI, Azure AI service in your cloud, to get the answer based on your existing documents. And finally, we will let this workflow here populate a Microsoft template, the client template with header footer, about all these questions, answers, and related documentation. So if I just go back to my Chapter 7 ISO 9001 audit here, the result of this workflow would be here a produced document that will include all these questions and answer formatted in a Word template that could be converted to a PDF with question, answers, but also link to related documents in the EQMS for evidence on this. And all these related compliance documents are listed here at the end of the document. So this would drastically save time, again, when preparing internal audits, for example, or we use it also at BPA for customer audits. When customers send a list of requirements or a list of whether we comply to certain regulations, then we let also AI answer these questions to avoid spending too many hours or days to answer these questionnaires. So this is game-changing scenario. This saves a huge time when preparing audits and also executing audits. The result of this is auditors can spend more time on improving processes, improving quality, rather than searching documents or searching for evidence in the EQMS. So this is quite an interesting scenario here. Now maybe we can jump to another scenario here that we have implemented in our own EQMS at BPA, and we usually like to try these AI scenarios prior proposing these to our clients. In this case, we have seen before that we can audit nonconformities. So here we audit nonconformities like this new release communication audit, and I can check here in my form that we have linked one or many nonconformities to audit here. Like client communication is missing when we publish a new release. And when publishing a new BPA release, for example, here, we'd like to check whether client communication is done correctly, and let AI ask or propose related questions to check if we have documentation regarding this to prevent such a nonconformity to occur or occur again. So here we can fire this AI flow. Again, we have Power Automate workflow with a certain workflow logic that will provision these questions for each related nonconformity. And this will check for internal data in our nonconformity module to be able to propose the right questions. So here, let's try it out. Let's fire this workflow. You can have entry parameters like how many questions would I like here to generate for each nonconformity. I will keep these 5 here and start and fire the workflow here. And in a few seconds, I will have confirmation in Teams that this workflow has been completed, and that all these questions now have been added to this audit detail. So here we save time in populating questions. And we could also do that, for example, to populate questions to best answer a specific regulation, specific clause, so that you don't have to manually enter these questions or manually create these audit checklists. And for example, here, we have one question that is, what is the current process for communicating new releases to clients and how is it documented? So not only I can populate these questions for the audit, but then I can check whether what we have done here, what we have in our documentation system to best answer these questions. So I will now trigger QPilot again to find out whether we have procedures in place to best answer this. And we have, for example, release note documentation here that is part of our software development procedure. And QA testing procedure, that's internal procedures here at BPA, where we define how the release note documentation is communicated to our clients. And if no answer or if answer is not correct, then this would be a sign for auditor to create additional to create documents, missing documents in the system and trigger a document request, or possibly update existing documents with a revision request, so that we have always this documented information to avoid that nonconformities occur again and again, and train collaborators on this to avoid that nonconformities occur again and again. Right, so this was a quick live demo. As a conclusion, BPA apps comes with all these, let's say, pre-configured cutting-edge AI workflows. We have great technological advantage thanks to Microsoft 365 tools. And all data AI workflows that you have seen today, they are in the secure client cloud, right? Not going outside to the web. And Justin will mention about AI and security just after. Last but not least, so BP AI-driven EQMS brings high ROI. This is important that customers get ROI on this, and quick payback. Usually, payback is a matter of a few months because we save time, because we possibly save positions also. But more important than that, users can focus on much more productive work.